Hey guys, the wait is over. Vanessa and I decided to finally make a video about how we made our cabinet. I know a lot of you had a lot of questions about it, so in this video we're going to go through the tools we used, the materials we got for it, how we measured it, and all that good stuff. And hopefully it will cover everything that you guys had questions about. If not, then feel free to leave them in the comment section and we'll get to it. And don't get me wrong, by no means we are not professionals. We kind of just made it up as we go. I think the last time I had any woodworking experience was, I was in 8th grade. I think I made a lamp and a clock. And for Vanessa, I think she probably had a little bit more experience than I did.
Yeah, I think I made things like a chessboard and an actual cabinet in 12th grade maybe. But we had all these fancy tools, it was easy to make a straight cut. And yeah, so given what we had to work with, I don't think any of that experience really helped. But at least we kind of had a better idea of what to do. But still, it's not a very professional.
Yeah, and we'll show you guys, and we'll show you guys later. I mean, YouTube videos, watching it definitely helped a little bit, but most of them had all these, really nice tools, and they made it really nice looking. So, but yeah, let's get started. Okay, so to start off, the material that we used, the wood we got for the frame of the cabinet, we got really cheap plywood for about probably $20, and the shelves as well. For the door though, we initially used the cheap plywood that we bought, but because we messed up cutting it so many times, we have nothing left except for the maple plywood that we got from the platform. That was $50, but it looks nice now. We also used a bunch of L brackets, hinges for the doors, the L brackets again for the shelves, different sizes of screws. We got white for the paint. We got white semi-gloss paint, and I think that's pretty much it. And Vanessa will explain the design of it.
Okay, so basically with the design, we were going off of the fact that we wanted to be able to access a lot of these things while we were sitting on top of the platform, and not have to go underneath the platform all the time to get stuff. So this was kind of everything that we'd be using every day. So we decided one side we wanted it to be all of our own personal things, our electronics and that sort of thing. So that ended up being what we wanted on this side. And then on this side we decided this would be our closet essentially. So the top part would be my closet, and the bottom, the slightly smaller side, would be Phil's closet. And one of the big things for me, since I was a student, I wanted a desk or some kind of flat surface to be working on sometimes at night. So we made this as a drop-down table, and that way I had a flat surface here to be able to work off of. So a couple of the things about the design. A lot of people have been asking us about the measurements of our cabinet, and to be honest, we did not come to this design by just figuring out, oh, we want it to be exactly this height or width or depth or anything. We just kind of went through it organically. So the first one, the depth of the actual cabinet, we did this by having us lie down on the platform, Phil here and me here, and then we kind of just went by the width of our shoulders, and then kind of figured out how deep we could have this cabinet go and still have us be able to lie comfortably side by side. So that's actually how we ended up with this actual depth. And because the back of the cabinet is along the side of the car with the windows and with the car paneling, it makes it really awkward to try to measure it from that side. So we ended up measuring more from this side of the platform across, and that's kind of how we decided to start with our design. And then going by the width, we actually also had to take into consideration that the end of the second door here, we wanted to be able to open that and still access this area, as well as the fact that our platform has the ability to fold up on the end. So we had to make sure that the end of this cabinet didn't interfere with that ability to be able to fold that end up. So we kind of had to stop it a little early and not build it all the way out to the back of the driver's seat. So that was kind of how we decided on this side. On this side, we also decided that we wanted some space to work with here. So we wanted to be able to put a few things along this this back wall, like our kitchen spices is really what we put here now. So we wanted to make sure we had enough room here. And that's, again, how we kind of decided, like, oh, we kind of want about this much space. So in the end, I think this, all in all, width-wise, is about 34 inches or so. And then in the top, we also didn't want to go too high because, again, with the roof curving down a bit at the corners, it made it really awkward to try to like make this cabinet top. So we kind of just said, forget it. We're going to go a little bit lower and just make it easy on us, and just have a flat top like that all the way across. So as for the measurements of the shelves themselves, the biggest thing for us was that we wanted to have more space in the closet than in the personal electronics side, so we kind of just space it out like that. So in the end, I think we ended up with 13 inches across here and something like 17 and a half inches across here. And then going from the bottom up, we also wanted to make sure that we had enough space to access everything in the bottom shelf. And considering that our futon itself is about 4 inches deep, we wanted to make sure we had enough space to kind of like grab that stuff. So this here is about 9 to 9.5 inches or so. And then essentially we just took the rest of the space and split that in half. And so it's about 6 to 6.5 inches in terms of height for both of these. On this side, we essentially did the same thing, we just didn't have the middle cabinet, so we just split that here. And so this top side is my closet, and the bottom side is Phil's closet. The last thing we kind of really wanted to do was keep the whole front of the cabinet flush. We didn't want to have anything like sticking out too much to like get in our ways. So we didn't actually want to have any door handles or door knobs or anything like that that could kind of get in the way. So this is why we kind of did the whole drilling the hole in the middle and then just being able to pull it open like that. We also wanted the front of the doors to sit flush in line with the rest of the cabinets. So when we actually put the shelves in, we inset them a little bit by about 3/4 of an inch like that, so that when we do close it, it all lies flat like that.
Right. Now the build process of it was a bit time consuming, just because we don't have the tools that we needed. I mean, we have the tools to get the job done, but not the tools to get it done quickly and nicely. So we went to bicycle shops to get bicycle boxes. Usually the owner of the shop will give them to you for free after they take out their bikes. So we basically use those cardboard boxes to build out the cabinet as a template first. So all these piece of wood with all the curves and everything, that took the longest to figure out. So we don't know what the measurements are. We just kind of fit in the cardboard boxes and just cut them out as they fit. After that, we lay them out on the plywood, trace it out, and use a really cheap $30 Black & Decker jigsaw that we got from Home Depot to cut out all the pieces.
So the thing with the jigsaw was that it isn't like the best saw that you can get out there. It was just, we didn't want to invest that much on it. And a jigsaw has a free blade, so it just meant that like when we were trying to cut, we wouldn't necessarily always get those nice 90-degree cuts that you would get like with other saws. So sometimes we had kind of like angles and stuff, and that kind of threw a little bit of the measurements and things off as we were building it. But so we really tried to use like the manufacturer's edges, the ones that we had cut in the store or the edges of the actual sheets when we wanted to make sure it was really those 90-degree cuts. Which is another thing to know. You can get things cut in store if you know the measurements of what you want.
For free.
For free, yeah.
And so after we got that done, I used 1.5 inch screws to screw in the top to connect these this piece, the center piece, and the far right piece together. I think we're supposed to use glue. From all the YouTube videos that I watched, people say to use wood glue to just to secure them, you know, really tight. But we didn't use glue. We just used screws to screw them in. So we did 4 screws on each side to attach them, and it's been working out nicely. So we did that. And then when we sand them down with sanding paper, we put in the shelves, and after that we apply about 2 or 3 layers of white semi-gloss paint over it. So that took a few days to kind of, you know, paint and let it dry, paint, let it dry, and paint, let it dry again. And that's pretty much it. After that, to secure the cabinet to the platform, we basically used 4-inch L brackets that we got from Home Depot with 1/2 inch screws, because our platform is 3¼ inch thick. So we just used 2 brackets here and 2 brackets at the other end, at the other side of the cabinet, and that's all it took to secure the cabinet to the platform. And it's been, you know, really sturdy and really strong. It doesn't make a sound when we drive, so it does the job. To finish it off, you know, the cabinet, we got these really nice adhesive cork mat from the Container Store. So we just kind of put them on so things wouldn't slide around when we drive. And then we got Vanessa got some boxes, again, tape them on to the cabinet for storage. And I think that's pretty much it.
So the last thing was the doors. So the doors of the cabinet in itself is a little bit of a story, because as Phil kind of said earlier, we kind of messed up with the cutting many times with the cheap plywood that we had bought, and it was because we had assumed that, and we assumed incorrectly, that we would be able to build the whole thing, you know, squarely, and everything would be level, and so that really wasn't the case. So we had measured the doors out to what that space should be, like a nice square 13 by 13 or something like that. But it really didn't fit. So when we tried to put that piece in, it was like crooked, and it didn't fit at all in the space. So what we had to do was actually grab the maple plywood, the scrap pieces that we had, lay it down, and then take the entire cabinet and just throw it on top and trace out the size of the door.
From the inside.
From the inside of the cabinet, yeah. So that way we could make sure that it fit exactly right. And so now it looks really nice because it does fit exactly right, but it's completely not square or level anywhere. But that's okay, you can't really tell. So, and that's also why we kind of ended up not painting the doors, because we ended up using the nicer maple plywood, and we thought that, you know, it's got a kind of a nice finish, and the white paint and stuff wasn't as nice as we kind of thought it was gonna be. So we were like, okay, it looks nice just doing that, and we knew we would put some like of our own decorations and stuff on it too, so it wasn't a big deal. And then the other thing that we did was put in this table, and essentially for this one we just used these little eyelet screws here, and we were able to just like tie a string here. And it made sense for me just to put it on the right side here, because when I'm like sitting here and facing the table, I wanted to have more access here, and I didn't want to have another string in my way like this. So that's kind of why we decided just to do it on the one side, and as long as you don't put anything like super heavy, it has been holding up fine. So just the 3 hinges here. This shelf is also held up by 4 L brackets, the smaller 2-inch ones that Phil kind of talked about earlier. And then finally, we had a little bit of issue with the latches. on the shelves. So we initially bought the latch that we have here, which is kind of this metal bracket with the rollers, and that works fine on this one. But when we tried it for this drop down table, it really didn't work well because there was too much pressure from the inside of the cabinet, plus whenever we hit like a bump or something, it would just flop open. So then we tried the magnetic latches that you get on like normal cabinet doors, and again the same thing happened. After a couple of bumps or so, it would just flop open as well. So we decided, okay, we'll just go with something a little more mechanical, and so we just got this like very typical locking, you know, latch like that, and that way like it definitely won't open, and it's not as pretty, and it's not it's a little bit louder because it can kind of rattle, but it does what it needs to do, and
Yeah.
so everything here is kind of, it just does what it needs to do.
And the cost of everything, I'm gonna say roughly around $100. I mean, the cheap plywood, like I said before, was around 20. The maple plywood we got from, you know, the platform, and then with the L brackets, hinges, I don't know, probably $30.
Especially because we had to buy a couple and try them out.
Yeah. The paint probably between $10 to $15, and then the brush, you know, that's another $10 to $15, not including the jigsaw. So yeah, I say everything was around $100 to build the cabinet, which is not bad, I don't think.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Again, if you guys have any more questions, leave them in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoy what you just saw, like it and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.